What's up, my freaks and peaks? Welcome to episode 88 of the Access to Combat podcast. I am one half of your co-host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next, joined by my co-host.
It's your boy, Ray Boogie Kahuna. And on today's episode, we're going to be breaking down UFC Seattle, headlined by Song and Cejudo. And on the boxing side of the world, we got Riyadh and we got Tokyo. But, before we get into any of that, my brother, tell them what the deal is.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Nursulton Black Ruziboev going one-on-one with the debuting Eric McConico. Ruziboev, 34-9-2, fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but wrecking Uzbekistan, 31 years old. McConico is 9-2-1, fighting out of Glendale, Arizona, 34 years old. I checked this Tapology just yesterday, and they didn't have an age for McConico. Confirmed 34 years old now. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. This is one of these last-minute fights that they threw on the card. This card has been in turmoil in terms of scheduling and
cancel fights, yeah.
Fights falling through, fights being rebooked. McConico, he's mid, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive, but I think he's like a mediocre striker, a mediocre grappler, and I think this is a fight where Ruziboev should win. Not too high in Ruziboev personally, but I think Ruziboev's got him covered essentially anywhere this fight probably wants to take place. So give me Ruziboev here, probably ITD. I don't think McConico belongs in the UFC personally, but I think this is a big pack him up.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit of a softball to Ruziboev because I feel like he stepped up a few times on short notice. He's also stepped up a few times in big spots for the UFC. His only loss is to Joaquin Buckley, which is kind of aging very well right now, even though it's a weight class down. But actually, did he take that fight a weight class up or a weight class down?
I don't recall.
Yeah, regardless, it doesn't matter because Joaquin fought at both at 70 and 85. McConico, not UFC caliber. We watched the tape, not impressed with your performance. I almost feel like I have to ring in GSP here.
I'm not impressed by your performance.
I concur.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a little bit of a favor considering the fallout opponents and Ruziboev's willingness to probably stay on this card despite having an opponent change such last minute. So give me Ruziboev here. I think he has him covered everywhere as well. I think he gets a ITD for sure.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have Adam Fugitt going one-on-one with Billy Ray Goff. Fugitt, 10-4, fighting out of Oregon, 36 years old. Billy Ray Goff is 9-3, fighting out of Connecticut, 26 years old. So we got a 10-year age gap here. Another fight that should be in favor, in my opinion, of Goff. I think Goff is probably the side here for me. Fugitt, one of these guys. I wouldn't say horrible, but another just mid fighter. He's not going to blow your socks off in terms of his striking or his grappling. Could present the problem in terms of maybe extending this fight longer than it probably needs to be. But Billy Ray Goff, impressive striker. I'm a little worried about his striking defense because he does take a punch to, give a punch, but
Granite chin though.
Granite chin. I think he's fought a better striker in his debut against Trey Waters, and
yeah,
I don't think Fugitt is as good as Trey Waters. I think Billy Ray Goff should get this one done. Probably ITD as well, to be honest, but give me Goff for the win.
Yes, and Goff, you heard my brother right, fought Trey Waters, not Crystal Waters. You understand me? And if you look at Fugitt on his Tapology page, he looks like the kid from We Are the Millers. I can't pick this guy. I'm pure principle, but I feel like Fugitt's a little overblown. Yeah, he lost to Mike Morales and he lost to Mike Malott, which I'm not the highest on Mike Malott, but I would say Mike Malott's top 15.
More talented.
He's
sure.
much more talented.
Yeah.
I thought he lost to Quinlan. I thought that fight was close. I thought Quinlan clearly beat him. And then Quinlan has fought way better guys than him, and he's out the UFC. So for me, it's you don't want to do MMA math here, but I'm not sure if Fugitt belongs at this level. I feel like he's going against a little bit of a hammer here. This is a tough fight for him. This is a guy that's not going to go away, a guy that's going to pressure him, a guy that's going to make him very uncomfortable in certain situations. I feel like Goff gets him out of there, probably by knockout.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have a debuting Nick Klein, blue collar, going one-on-one with Mansur Abdul-Malik. Klein, 6-1, fighting out of Wisconsin, 29 years old. Malik, perfect, 7-0, fighting out of Columbia, Maryland, 27 years old. A bit of a mirror match, in my opinion. These guys basically want to do the same thing. They want to take you down, they want to beat you up. Klein, a little more of the submission specialist, where Malik is more of the ground and pound type. Pause. I'm going to be leaning Malik here. Slight edge. I mean, he's, I think, the more athletic of the two guys, and I think he's got the measurables. Bit of a coin toss, but I'll lean Malik here just on the anamorphic stats and raw athletic talent, I guess, you know. But I'm not too confident. But I'll go Malik.
Yeah, I'm with you on this actually too. And I was looking at the line. They have Nick Klein at plus 400. His name is Blue Collar. It's not Dog Collar. And I don't expect him to probably get dog walked in this match. I really don't. I feel like he does have tools to give Malik problems. He does have tools to give him fits for him not to land damage. He had trouble with hitting his last fight, and it was his debut fight, so I'm trying not to be too hard on him. But he had trouble against I can never pronounce this guy's name.
Dusko, right?
Yeah, his last name is
his last name.
It's a mouthful. Pause.
Ayo.
Yeah, I just, and that guy I don't think is UFC caliber at all. I don't think he's good. Malik had issues kind of dispatching of him in certain instances. He eventually got him out of there, but it should have been way sooner. Nick Klein presents a lot more issues to his strength because I think his grappling's pretty elite. The way he locked up that guillotine, the rear naked choke on the Contender Series, very impressive, kind of held through it, and he had it very tight because he didn't have to throw in hooks when getting the back and when he rotated off the back to get his back to the mat. I do feel like Malik should get it done, but minus 550.
I agree with you. It is dog or pass.
Big dogger pass here, so
also like unders as well.
Yeah, unders for sure. Dogger pass. Not sure if I'm not sure if you're gonna play it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna play it, but I have a hard time believing Malik's gonna cover it. And this dude, real blue collar dude, like his nickname, real gritty, real tough, not gonna go away. And I do have concerns about Malik late in fights. I think he might be a little bit of a gas bag and we don't know it yet. And it's because of his style and because of his muscle density. Usually guys who are really big like that don't have a lot of endurance to go long in fights. Pause.
Hey, yo.
You know, so the stamina needed, you know.
Hey, yo.
But give me Malik, but man, this is definitely dog or pass.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Andre Touchy Fili, going one-on-one with Melquizael Costa. We'll just call him Mel Costa here. Andre Fili, Touchy, 24-11, fighting out of Sacramento, California, 34 years old. Mel Costa is 21-7, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 28 years old. This is probably going to be one of the more fun fights on the card. I give the edge to Costa probably on the ground. He's an aggressive grappler, and I think he's probably got better jits. Probably. Fili, I think if this fight stays on the feet, I think he could probably, tune him up a bit. But I think it's a decent fight. I'm probably gonna lean Andre here, though. And it's probably a little more because of the IQ. I am worried about his chin. Give me Touchy Fili here. I feel like, I don't know what I feel like here. But it's a toss-up for me. Give me big booty Latinas for the win.
It's a toss-up for Vegas, too. This fight's lined at a pick'em. I'm kind of there. And there's a lot of question marks on Fili's chin, his motivation this late in his career, his age, the amount of damage he's taken. Costa plays a little bit too much off his back. Andre can wrestle, like, at a very high level. Trained most of his life and most of his career at Alpha Male. I feel like Costa does have tools to get this fight done, but Andre, probably bigger, one of the bigger punchers in the division, according to Max Holloway, does have good submission defense, does have a good back take game as well. I feel like Andre should win this fight, man, but this is another dog or pass spot. I'm curious to see how this line moves. I just feel like you can't trust Andre. If I could trust Andre, it'd be an easier pick, but I just...
And this is another one of these fights where I think unders probably hit. I don't see it really going the distance. And on just to defend Costa a little bit, I do think he's a little more explosive. I do think he probably hits a little harder. He might be a little quicker as well, considering the age gap and shit. But like, I don't know. It's a tough. I agree with you. It's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up. I'm going to lean Fili because of the wrestling edge, and I feel like he can control him in certain spots and win minutes, but not with a high degree of confidence.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have Ricky Simón going one-on-one with the Snow Leopard, Javid Basharat. Simón is 20-6, fighting out of Vancouver, Washington, hometown boy, 32 years old. Basharat, 14-1, fighting out of England, but repping Afghanistan, 29 years old. If this is Ricky Simón from maybe a couple years ago, this is probably a little more intriguing fight in my opinion. But in my opinion, I think Ricky Simón is a bit on the washed side. I don't know what it is. Maybe the mental is not there no more. Maybe the body can't really keep up with the physical demand anymore. Who knows? But for one reason or another, I don't think Simón is the Simón of old. And Basharat is very good. On the feet, I think he's got him covered. On the ground, I think it can be competitive, but I'd lean Basharat only because I just can't trust Ricky.
Yeah.
So give me Basharat here for the win. Probably by decision, but I wouldn't be too surprised that like some kind of stoppage here. Maybe would this be Basharat's first stoppage?
I feel like the fact that you're asking that question means it's probably gonna go to decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could have finished a bowl of cereal, man. I mean, like that's my only issue with Basharat in terms of his style and how he goes about things. But I'm curious to hear Ricky's interviews this week. That Vinicius Oliveira fight, man, was a letdown. Like, we bet him. We thought we were getting crazy value betting him, and he got dog walked. It was not good.
Take him around the corner.
Yeah, take him around the corner. He took a piss, squatted down, took a shit. Then he couldn't walk. He picked him back up by his belly and took him upstairs. That's what happened.
Like a little chihuahua.
Like it was bad.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I agree with you. This Ricky might be washed, but I am curious to see if he admits that maybe there was an injury or he had staph, because he looked like he didn't want to push a pace. If he pushes a pace against Basharat, he can beat this guy.
Oh, it's winnable.
It's winnable. And Ricky is durable, which is why I think it's going to go to decision. Basharat's the lean, but if Ricky can convince me otherwise, how he's talking this week and stuff like that, I think at plus 250, I think he's playable. But the official pick and the official lean and probably the official bet is going to be Basharat by decision on this podcast. But once again, I want to see as more information comes out later this week.
Next fight at men's light heavyweight, we have the Baltic gladiator Modestas Bukauskas going one-on-one with the Lion, Raffael Cerqueira. Bukauskas is 16-6, fighting out of England, but repping Lithuania. 31 years old. Cerqueira, 11-1, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 34 years old. This fight is a toss-up, but only a toss-up because I don't know if I trust either man. I feel like Cerqueira has got the talent, and he's a dynamic striker, hits hard, a little low volume, and maybe the IQ and maybe the heart is, I question the heart. But Bukauskas, I mean, a winnable fight for Bukauskas, but I don't know. Bukauskas is one of these guys where it's his second stint in the UFC. He's looked better this second time around. Decent striker, also low volume. And what was probably most impressive about his last win was that he was able to actually mix in grappling for the first time. I mean, if he does that, I mean, he could beat a side here. I don't know what this fight is lined in particular.
Minus 310 to plus 250.
Wait, who's the dog?
Raffael. Like it's dog or pass, man.
It could be dog or pass here, but I mean, it's something just quite frankly stinks about this fight.
Which is why I like the dog here. I'm all over it, man.
Because I feel like Bukauskas, even though he's, favorite, I don't think he should be that big of a favorite. I mean, he's got the tools, but it's like, this is just going to be like a low volume affair that goes the distance, and it might be the crowd goes mild type fight. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I'm with you on this, and it stinks, which is why I'm going to lean the favorite here. I think Raffael got tagged in the last fight against Ibo, who is a humongous puncher, and he's proven himself to be okay. Like, if you give him the right stylistic matchups, like, he can put it on you. Raffael, debut bugs, this and that. He was a favorite in that fight, a heavy favorite. And he has a lot of hype coming into him, into the UFC. I do think he has the talent. I do think he has the skills to win this fight.
And I think he's the right opponent as well, because Bukauskas, even in his wins, he doesn't get pushed. I mean, he doesn't push, and he's always doing the Harlem Shake whenever he gets touched in the chin.
The chicken dance. Yeah.
This is the perfect opponent for Cerqueira to, clean him out if he needs to.
Pause. but no, I just, there's something about Bukauskas that just doesn't sit well with me as a guy who is convincing people to put their hard-earned money on an individual for a fight. I just think this line doesn't make sense. That's where I'm at. And you look at it, it's like plus 250. I get he got tagged by Ibo, but this is 205. Anyone gets tagged at this level and up, you're going to get hurt, man.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Yeah, big boys that hit hard. Pause.
And this is a smaller card. The Raffael fight that he fought last time was on a much bigger card. I mean, UFC jitters, I'll give him that credit. I do think he has the skills, and this is a guy that he can definitely showcase him against, because it's a guy who's, even though he can mix in the grappling, he's going to want to stand. He likes to manage distance. He likes to play with his feet and dance on the outside and try to style and, think he's like Joe Calzaghe out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what this is, man. I just feel like Raffael, this is a fight this might be like a get well fight almost. You know, and I feel like they do have high hopes, and we kind of know what Bukauskas is at this point. I think Raffael has a higher ceiling than him. At plus 250, I think this is dog or pass. So I'm going to lean Raffael. You know, we'll see if we play it. Come closer to fight time.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight, we have the Hulk, Ion Cutelaba, going one-on-one with the last Ottoman, Ibo Aslan. Cutelaba is 18-10-1, fighting out of Moldova. Actually, no, repping Moldova, but fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 31 years old. Ibo Aslan is 14-1, fighting out of Turkey, repping Turkey, 28 years old. This is a fight where, on paper, Cutelaba has got the advantage, in my opinion. If it goes to the wrestling, and if he goes with a wrestling-heavy game plan, I think he can win this fight. This fight, in my opinion, is probably not going to go to distance because these guys are finishers. Pause. But I got this irking sensation in my loins.
Another stinky fight.
That Ibo is probably going to pull this one out and knock out Cutelaba. I'm going to be picking Ibo. Low confidence because, again, if Cutelaba goes to the wrestling, it's Aslan's weakness. Give me Ibo here. Tentatively, give me Ibo.
I'm with you on the pick. I'm a little skeptical. And I'm with you on the low confidence too as well with this pick because I'm skeptical because Ion usually struggles against guys that are humongous for this weight class, like a Johnny Walker or a Ryan Spann. But those are guys that, like, when you wrestle into them, you pick them up, they're still on the floor. Ibo is not a humongous 205er. He's big, but he's not, pause, but he's not humongous, pause. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I just feel like there's a lot of room for Cutelaba to try and squeak this one through. Like you, I have a weird sensation that, like he does in most of his fights, he's going to turn his brain off and he's just going to let it bang. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Yeah. I feel like this is Ibo's fight to steal, in my opinion. He's a favorite, ironically. He's a minus 135 to Cutelaba's plus 114 as currently stated, but I'm curious to see what this looks close to the fight time. This is not something I'm going to play immediately, but Ibo does have the power to knock him out with one good shot. So give me Ibo as the lean, but not with a high degree of confidence.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight, we have Atomic Alonzo Menifield going against the debuting Julius Juicebox Walker. Menifield, 15-5-1, fighting out of Texas, 37 years old. The Juicebox, Julius Walker, is perfect, 6-0, fighting out of Springfield, Missouri, 25 years old. Another fight that kind of just got thrown on the card last minute. I'm not sure if Menifield was previously scheduled for this fight. Or scheduled for the card, but I'll start with the Julius Walker guy. He's undefeated, kind of basic game plan, take you down, grapple, punch you out. That's what he wants to do. He looks decent. I think he looks pretty good, in my opinion. I am worried about his takedown defense. That being said, I mean, Menifield, another guy who I think is supremely athletic, supremely talented, but sometimes just doesn't really put it together.
Agreed.
It's more of like an IQ thing, I think, with Menifield. Also, he's the older guy. I don't have that much confidence in Menifield to win this fight, but I wouldn't rule out him pulling out some crazy upset here. Another fight that probably doesn't go to distance. Give me the upset here. I don't know if it's the upset, actually, because I don't know the odds, but give me Walker here to win this fight in some ground and pound fashion.
Yeah, this fight stinks for a lot of reasons. Another fight that just completely stinks. Menifield's like the Trevin Giles of 205.
Now, that's a very good analogy there.
Just super talented, has supreme punching power, can grapple, can wrestle. Just for whatever reason, just falls apart when he's in there. I truly believe some people just are not meant to be in that setting. They're not built for that setting. Alonzo, I feel like, could fall into that category, even though he's been in some dogfights. He has the tools to win this fight. This is a fight that I don't have a lot of interest in betting because I don't think Julius is all that good either. Alonzo should win this fight, so I'm going to lean him. I would have to see what these lines look like close to the fight time because we don't have any lines available at the moment. If you're asking me, I feel Alonzo can wrestle him down, can hold him down, and can thump and hurt him, especially a guy who's probably going to stand straight like a deer in the headlights in his UFC debut in a big packed arena in Seattle, Washington. Give me Alonzo Menifield, but not with a high degree of confidence here.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Jean Silva. Not Lord Assassin anymore, just straight Lord. Lord Jean going one-on-one with the gun, Melquizael Bagdasarian. Silva is 14-2, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 28 years old. Bagdasarian is 8-2 overall, fighting out of Glendale, California, but repping Armenia, 33 years old. Exciting fight, especially if it stays on the feet. I'm going to be leaning Lord Assassin, or the artist formerly known as Lord Assassin, just Lord. Yadong Silva here. And for two reasons. One, he's a little more dynamic of a fighter here. I mean, Bagdasaryan is a very excellent kickboxer, very excellent striker, but nothing really else to the game in terms of like, you know, being crazy dynamic. He's not going to really try to go for any kind of wrestling or grappling. He wants this fight on the feet. Yadong Silva is one of those guys that kind of just like thrives in chaos. Super awkward guy, but the guy loves fighting, fights with, you know, his heart on his sleeve, tremendous power, and he's also got grappling upside, in my opinion. So, hey, and these fighting nerds guys, I mean, they literally been on a roll lately. Who am I to be stepping in front of the train here? Give me Yadong Silva here, and I think he finishes Bagdasaryan. I say ground and pound, but I wouldn't rule out submission either. But give me Yadong Silva here for the win.
Yeah, I'm with you on Yadong Silva. I'm on the train, especially after his last fight against Drew Dober, where he took some big shots from Drew and he was able to still put him away later in the fight. The better strength for schedule for him. He's a big guy that cuts down to the weight class. I think he actually missed weight one of his last two fights. Hits extremely hard, very patient in the pocket, understands space, does have the grappling upside in this fight. He's a minus 455. I don't know if he's going to cover that line, but he just might.
He might.
This guy, if it stays standing, has tools to hurt him. But John has shown a granite chin because Drew cracks and he walked through it like it was nobody's business. Charles Jourdain hits very hard. Also has a tricky ground game, very opportunistic ground game. Was not having any of that shit. And that was up a weight class, if I'm correct. I think Yadong Silva's the real deal. He might, I know I said earlier that he probably wasn't going to cover the minus 140. Well, actually, I said he might not cover the minus 455, but he might. I'm going to lean that he will. ITD, give me Yadong Silva.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have a run back, a couple years in the making. I can't do the math right now. The last time they fought was in 2018, but we got
7 years.
Damn, that's pretty quick. Human calculator over here. Brendan Allen, all in, going one-on-one with Fluffy Anthony Hernandez. Brendan Allen is 24-6, fighting out of Covington, Louisiana, 29 years old. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez is 13-2, fighting out of California, 31 years old. So it's been 7 years, according to my brother here. Quick math, know what I'm saying? Their first fight was a great watch. 5-rounder total. If you're into the grappling and you're into the just dynamic wrestling, excellent transitions, crazy back and forth, high paced. But Anthony, you know, kind of came out on top there, rightfully so, in my opinion. Have things changed in 7 years? I think they both gotten better. I'm a fan of both guys. I'm higher on both guys than I think the average person. Brendan Allen, definitely the better striker, but not by that much. Anthony Hernandez is the better grappler, but probably not by that much.
Good fight, man.
Another fight that, I mean, it could possibly end. It's a 3-rounder this time around, if I'm not mistaken.
And this line is out of control, to be frank.
What is the line?
Minus 270 for Anthony Hernandez, plus 220 for Brendan Allen.
Yeah, that's a little crazy considering that I don't know if either guy is going to finish either guy here.
And if it was a 5-rounder, I think that line could be a little more justified.
I can see this fight going the distance and split decision. I'm going to be picking Fluffy here. In terms of a bet, I think Doga Pass is definitely kind of the way to rock here. Or if anything prop-wise that sticks out where the unders look insane, because I'm not going to rule out fight ends in sub either. But yeah, give me Fluffy here. I'm going to be leaning Fluffy, but Doga Pass in terms of where the value's at.
Yeah, this fight might be a sneaky over, depending on what it's lined at and the value. I'm curious to see where everything gets lined at because we don't have anything available to us. Fluffy, I'm going to lean Fluffy as well, just because I think he has an insane pace for, you know, in a 5-round fight with in a 3-round fight, he's going to have an even crazier pace than a 5-round fight.
Yes.
And his wrestling is underrated. He knows how to get to his spots. Very good at getting the back. Very good at getting to his head and arm choke series. I don't think he's going to be able to submit Brendan Allen. I also think Brendan Allen, if he doesn't donk it up like he usually does, he should be very prepared for that, because the only issue I have with Fluffy's game is that he consistently goes to that game. Doesn't really work to get a rear naked choke. Doesn't work for arm bars, doesn't work for leg locks, works to the body lock, then goes for the head and arm choke, the anaconda choke, or the in and out guillotine with the Bravo choke on the other side. I think Fluffy, if this was a 5-round fight, I'd be very, very on him to win this fight, even at minus 270, because I just have a hard time believing Brendan Allen's going to be able to keep up with him. Brendan Allen also does not go to the body as much as I would like him to. If he was going to the body, I think he could hurt Fluffy, because Fluffy has shown on multiple occasions that he is very vulnerable to the body. He got hurt against Pereira, and then buried him for the next 4 rounds. Literally beat the shit out of him. I don't know if Pereira's going to look the same after that fight. Give me Fluffy, but in terms of this line, considering what we're saying and considering that it's a shorter period of time, even though Brendan Allen did low IQ it up against Imavov, I do feel like this is a spot, a guy who's not a big threat on the feet. Brendan Allen's going to be bigger than him. Brendan Allen can wrestle. Brendan Allen has also been better about executing his takedown shots. He showed it against Chris Curtis, was able to get Chris Curtis down on multiple occasions. And yes, like Chris Curtis, Fluffy can get up, but it's also a 3-round fight. And in the eyes of the judges, this may be a lot closer than it probably is. I'm going with what the judges may or may not see. And I think at plus 220, Brendan Allen's definitely a dog shot here. Give me Fluffy for the lead, but give me Brendan Allen as a possible dog play for this card.
Next fight on the card, and that's currently constituted the main event of the evening. At bantamweight, we have Triple C Henry Cejudo going one-on-one with the King. Nope, not the King, the Kung Fu Kid, Song Yadong. Cejudo is 16-4, fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, 38 years old. Song is 21-8-1, fighting out of Sacramento, but repping China, 27 years old. I think this is a solid main event, solid fight overall, a bit of a coin toss. I think what it really boils down to is how washed you think Cejudo is.
Correct.
I mean, he's 38 years old. He's fighting in a weight class he's, kind of new to, hasn't had a win since 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Dominic Cruz, who just retired, by the way.
Yes. Song, excellent, only 27 years old, which is kind of wild considering how long he's been in the UFC and how, he's been making incremental improvements to his game.
He's very good.
Definitely going to be the better striker here. Has historically kind of struggled against wrestlers, and this is probably the best wrestler he's fighting ever. But Cejudo, I mean, again, undersized. 2 losses in a row. Don't know. We don't know what the read is on Cejudo. What's the motivation here too? I mean, initially he came back to the UFC because he wanted gold. Ended up tripping on gold twice there. So
even though I thought he beat Aljo, which is crazy.
Yes.
That fight was close, but I thought he edged him.
So on paper, I feel like if this is, decent Cejudo probably could win this fight. I mean, it's a 5-rounder. You just got to control Song for at least 3 of the 5 rounds and not get knocked out here. Sneaky suspicion Song might just edge this one out just purely on damage. And if he doesn't get controlled, I mean, this is probably Song's fight to lose. I think he should probably be taking advantage of a 38-year-old flyweight moving up to bantamweight. So I'm going to be slightly leaning Song, but not with a high degree of confidence. And I think this is going to be a great fight to watch to see how washed or not washed Cejudo is.
Yeah, this fight is so interesting on many levels. The line I kind of agree with, though. I will say Song is sitting at a minus 258, Cejudo a plus 210. That makes a little bit of sense to me. Song, the power edge. Song, the size edge. Song has worked on his wrestling. Song has only really been controlled by Corey Sanhagen. That's the only guy that's really, really controlled him. Ricky Simón couldn't get him down in certain spots, and that's when Ricky wasn't washed, and low-key, you could argue Yadong kind of put this boy in retirement because he hasn't been the same since. The amount of damage he put on Ricky in that fight hurt him bad multiple times. I feel like in a 25-minute fight, Song's gonna find the spots to hurt him. I have a hard time believing that Cejudo at this point in his career is gonna be able to wrestle for 25 minutes. How good is Cejudo's wrestling? Cejudo took down Merab and hurt him, by the way.
Yeah, early in the fight.
I guess the question is, how much do you think Yadong has improved in between camps? I'm going to say a lot because he's 27 years old and he's really in bed with this shit. I think this line is justified. I think Song might fuck him up proper, man. It hurts me to say that because I think this is a 3-round fight that gives Cejudo a little bit more of an edge. I just don't see Cejudo finishing him. Song is got a granite chin. Cejudo doesn't have an intense submission game. Song is going to be able to bully him in certain aspects of the game. Henry Cejudo, 38 years old. I mean, he's only lost to the creme of this division too. So I got to give him a little bit of respect. I think that's why the odds are only 2-1. Like, you lost to Merab, dude. Merab's the champion and just beat a guy that no one thought was going to be able to beat him in the division in Umar. Aljo, if he fought O'Malley again, he's probably still the champion. Let's just keep it 100. So for me, you lost to 2 guys that can wrestle. Song can't wrestle to the level of those guys, especially Aljo now too. Aljo put some respect on his name after the way he moved around Evelev. You're going to see how much Song has leveled up in this fight, or how much Cejudo has declined, or both, a mixture of both. With the fact that we're actually questioning Cejudo, and with the age and what we've seen and his cardio and his gas tank versus what we've seen from Song being able to control Chris Gutierrez in certain instances, well, most of their fight, Granted, Chris Gutierrez can't wrestle for shit, but the physicality edge and the power edge that he has, mixed with him being an alpha male and them probably prepping him for this fight, I gotta lean Song here, man. I think Song might stop him. He might stop him in this fight. I don't think he's gonna sub Cejudo. I think if you're gonna play Song, it's probably gonna be by knockout or decision. I'm gonna say by knockout. I think he probably gets it done maybe third round. And that the one last thing I will say about Song, I don't question his cardio. That dude can go. He has a motor for someone his size. It's impressive. He is a specimen. He's 27 years old. Give me Song by knockout here.
And that does it for UFC Seattle. We're going to slide right over into the Sweet Science and jump right into the top ranked card taking place in Tokyo, Japan. We got Junto Nakatani in the main event going one-on-one with El General David Cuellar. Nakatani is perfect, 29-0. He's the champion. He is fighting out of Japan. He is 27 years old, and Cuellar is also perfect, 27-0. Fighting out of Mexico, rep in Mexico, 23 years old. My brother, take it away.
Yeah, this should be Junto Nakatani all day. Cuellar, very good body puncher, very good volume puncher. The only issue I have with Cuellar kind of has bad exits, leaves his chin exposed as he exits. Junto Nakatani, speed advantage here, power advantage, even though Cuellar does have a good amount of knockouts on his win ratio. I just feel like the level of competition is just so vastly different here. He's only a -700, which is surprising, but I get it because Cuellar is a dog and does have decent pop. But I just feel like Junto Nakatani is the real deal, and there's a reason why they're trying to set up the fight with him and Inoue in Japan, which is a huge fight. Give me Junto Nakatani to get this done via knockout. I don't think Cuellar's seen anything like him. I don't think Cuellar's experienced someone with his size and speed. I think he packs him up within the mid to late rounds. Give me Junto Nakatani by knockout.
Moving right along from Tokyo to Saudi Arabia, from Top Rank to Queensberry Promotions, we have a stacked Riyadh card and a couple of fights we want to highlight here. One in particular, we have Virgil Ortiz Jr. going one-on-one with the Dream, Israel Madrimov, and this is for the interim WBC World Super welterweight title. Virgil Ortiz is 22-0, fighting out of Grand Prairie, Texas, 26 years old. Madrimov is 10-1-1, the challenger, fighting out of Indio, California, but repping Uzbekistan, 30 years old.
Yeah, this is, it's crazy that this is, I hope they switch the order of this fight. I guess maybe because it's an interim belt, and they're doing it by weight. I just feel like this fight, I have it circled as probably the best fight of the night. Low key. These guys are both very good. Virgil Ortiz, big puncher, one of the rightful kings of this division. Madrimov had such a good showing against Terence Crawford and showed some of the dynamic aspects to his game, because before that fight, he was more of a marauder. Had a Bivol style to him. Real hoppy, real light on his feet. Knew when to be in and out. Knew how to distance manage very well. Knew how to cut angles very well. Terence Crawford did the same thing, but he was a lot more measured. Knew how to reset his stance to throw Terence off so Terence couldn't get going. That fight was very close. And if Terence kept him on the outside, it would have been a much easier win. I think people were kind of overblowing Terence Crawford in that fight because Terence just put himself in danger because he wasn't worried about Madrimov's power. And Terence Crawford also wanted to make it interesting to entice Canelo Alvarez to compete against him by knocking this guy out. He's still getting the fight anyway, which is wonderful. And Madrimov had a good showing. So here we are. He's against Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz just came out of a war with Boranchuk, which was, you could argue Boranchuk won the fight. That's how close the fight was. He got dropped twice in the fight. I don't think he's going to have those issues with the power from Madrimov. Madrimov, not the biggest puncher, but he does have sneaky, precise precision power. Meaning if he connects properly on you, he can hurt you. Virgil Ortiz takes body shots very well. The shots I heard him were kind of to the head. This fight is so close. I don't really want to give a lean. I do love the overs in this fight if it's playable. I love the overs. They have sparred together before. They do have a little bit of a build-up coming to this fight because Madrimov kind of mouthed off a little bit and said that he was kind of it was an easy sparring session. I do see why Madrimov said that because I think Madrimov's footwork is exceptional, a lot better than people are giving it credit for. I'm gonna lean Madrimov, not with a high degree of confidence, but the reason I'm leaning him is not only because I think this fight's gonna be close, it's also on his side of the world. If this was in California, I think Virgil Ortiz is probably gonna win this fight. But since it's in Saudi Arabia, I feel like Madrimov's gonna have a lot of the popular fan vote here. I also feel like he's gonna sway the judges here too, low key. He does have a style that's gonna be very difficult for Virgil. Virgil, I believe, is going to walk him down and throw a lot of volume. And he's going to throw with power and with bad intentions. The thing is, this is not Borenchuk who's going to sit there and take damage. Madrimov is a master at using the ring to his advantage and knowing where to be and where not to be. Terence Crawford was able to land damage at him, but later in the fight. The second half of this fight is going to be where it's going to be very entertaining, in my opinion, because we're going to see Madrimov slow down a little bit and Virgil will be able to catch up to him a bit. Give me Madrimov by decision here, but not with a high degree of confidence. Love the overs, and if you're asking me for the lean, Madrimov by decision.
Next fight on the card for the WBC World Lightweight title, we have Shakur Stevenson going one-on-one with Kid Austin Floyd Schofield. Shakur is perfect, 22-0, the champion, fighting out of Houston, Texas, 27 years old. Kid Austin is also perfect, 18-0, the challenger, repping Austin, Texas, 22 years old.
Yeah, I love this fight, just not right now. That's the best way to describe this fight. Floyd Schofield got dropped in his last fight by a guy that had no business being in there with him low-key. I know he's a veteran, he's tough, he's durable, but Floyd should have not touched the canvas against this guy. I think Shakur handpicked this fight because this guy resembles a lot of Tank. Let's just call it what it is. Floyd, very explosive, very technical, is dangerous very early. Like, can crack. The problem is he's going against a guy who probably has the best defense standing in front of you in boxing. Shakur knows how to roll with punches very well. Shakur knows how to press you with his feints to get bad punches out of you. He is the kryptonite for Tank, in my opinion. I think he probably beats Tank. And I know he's not the most entertaining fighter to most casual fans. Dude, I've even fallen asleep during a Shakur Stevenson fight. And respectfully to him, I was really tired, but his fighting style does not induce you to stay up. But if you appreciate the craft and you are wide awake and don't need caffeine for a night, he is a master at what he does. He is very good. I have a hard time believing Floyd's going to be able to figure him out within a 12 round span. I have a hard time believing he is going to catch him early. And even if he does catch him early, he's not going to knock him out because Shakur does have a decent chin too. Give me Shakur Stevenson by decision because he doesn't finish his cereal either, even though he should at times. And Floyd is a dog to his respect. Even though he got dropped his last fight, I feel like he's going to figure out ways to survive and stay in this fight. And Shakur doesn't throw enough volume anyway for him to get him out of there anyway. So give me Shakur Stevenson by decision in this fight.
Next fight on the card for the interim WBC World Heavyweight title, we have Big Bang Zhilei Zhang going one-on-one with Aget Caballel. Zhang, 27, 2-1, fighting out of Bloomfield, New Jersey, but repping China, 41 years old. Caballel is perfect, 25-0, fighting out of Germany, repping Germany, 32 years old.
Yeah, this fight it's a very good fight. It's the right fight to make at the right time, unlike the previous fight. Zhang does have that one-hitter quitter. He can knock anybody out in this division if he catches you. The problem is this is a guy in Agate that Turkey has been pushing, and this is a rightful push because I feel like this guy has been vastly disrespected throughout his boxing career. His last couple of fights were very impressive. Very good footwork, very good in and out movement, very good spatial awareness, good counterpuncher, good speed. He's going to be the faster guy here. Zhang, very durable. If you're going to bet Zhang, I think you bet him for the knockout in the mid-rounds because that's typically when he gets his knockouts. Unfortunately, I think he's going against a superior boxer here, even though he's going to be at a very big size advantage. I feel like this is going to look a lot like the Joe Parker fight, minus the damage that he was able to catch Joe Parker with in certain instances. Agate is a tough fight for him, in my opinion, and it's because Agate's slippery. Knows exactly where to be and where not to be. I feel like he's going to get this done via decision. I feel like Zhang is going to hold up. Agate's not the biggest puncher, kind of puts away most of his guys with volume. So with that said, give me Agate by decision here. Sadly, because I'm a Zhang guy. I love Zhang. We love Zhang on this podcast.
We love the bang.
Pause.
Next fight on the card for the IBF World Heavyweight title, we have Dynamite Daniel Dubois, Triple D, AO. Going one-on-one with Joseph Parker. Dubois is 22-2, the champion, repping London, repping England, 27 years old. Joseph Parker is 35-3, the challenger, fighting out of Morecambe, Lancashire. Man, he's repping New Zealand, man. 33 years old.
This is another fight where I'm super surprised that Dubois is taking this fight. And the reason being is because there's a big payday for Anthony Joshua waiting for him. I guess even if he loses, the fight's still there because it's 1-1. Well, that's not 1-1. He got rid of him. And
they'd be both coming off of losses, so.
Yeah, 1-1. It got a little past the second round. You know what I'm saying? So, to be frank with you, I don't like this fight for Dubois. And I know Dubois has been a little bit of a resurgence, has gone to the body, has been very aggressive, has not quit like he did against Usyk in the first fight. The problem is this is a resurging Joe Parker too. And I think people have been sleeping on this little run he's been going on. Yeah, he beat the ghost of Deontay Wilder, but he was able to outbox Zhang while taking damage in that fight. Every guy that Dubois has beaten has been a plotter. Joe Parker is one of these smaller heavyweights, and he's still a big guy, but he's one of the smaller heavyweights that has pretty good foot movement and good angling ability. The point being, if Dubois is not in front of a guy who's plotting and gonna be there to get hit, I feel like he's gonna have some fits in this fight. Joe Parker is on a roll here. I think the line is a little unjustified. He's a 2-1 dog here. I get that Dubois just knocked out Anthony Joshua, but I do believe that styles make matchups. I do believe Joe Parker can box to a decision here. He might beat him up late. That's the thing, though, because Dubois, a little bit of a questionable chin, too, at times. A little bit of questionable durability when things are not going his way. Because you've seen when Usyk was giving him a ton of looks, he just fucking quit, even though he hurt him to the body. I feel like it could look a lot like this, but Joe Parker hasn't really been finishing people either. Pause. Hey. So, for me, I think this is a Joe Parker decision. You take him on the money line here. I think there's a dog or pass spot. Love Dubois. We picked him against Anthony Joshua. We knew that he was a live dog in that fight, but this is a tough fight for him, and I hope he's getting a good amount of bag here to sacrifice the bigger payday with AJ to fight a guy who I think is probably his kryptonite in this division outside of Usyk. Give me Joe Parker for the upset here.
Next fight on the card, and it's currently constituted the main event of the evening for the undisputed lightweight heavyweight title. We have the rematch everybody's been waiting for. Artur Beterbiev going one-on-one with Dmitry Bivol.
You said Artur like Dmitry Bivol's ex-wife. Artur.
Beterbiev, perfect. 21-0, the champion. Fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, but repping Russia. 40 years old. The challenger, Bivol, 23-1 overall. Fighting out of Indio, California, but also repping Russia, 34 years old.
I thought Bivol won the first fight. It was very close. I don't want to use the word robbery because when it's close, it's not a robbery. I just thought the wrong guy won. I found it a little hilarious that the dictator was there with him and next to the judges and was able to break the news to Beterbiev's corner before the judges even announced it. It was a little funny.
Pandemonium in the palace, man.
Turkey thought Bivol won too. That's why we're getting this rematch immediately. I feel like this is a little bit of a scary fight for Bivol because Beterbiev has more adjustments to make. Beterbiev didn't really control the ring. He kind of followed him a lot of the ring. I thought Bivol controlled where the fight went. I guess the judges just awarded Bivol, Beterbiev on pressure. Bivol was able to control the space and actually hurt Beterbiev in certain instances with some precise punching and good footwork. I don't know. That's where I'm at, ladies and gentlemen. That's how good this fight is. This is a fight I probably won't bet. On a side, I like the overs. If it's a good over, I'll probably play it. I don't think Beterbiev's gonna beat him. Knock him out. He has the power to, but if you had to read a book about boxing, Bivol's face has to be in this book. Like him and Terrence Crawford. They are masters of just understanding the ring and understanding where to be. And then Bivol at this weight class, it's so impressive how he moves. And the first fight, he was able to just stay out of the way so much of a lot of Beterbiev's damaging shots, and he was able to hurt Beterbiev in certain spots too. It's just weird because I think the judges, it's crazy that we have to go down to the intricacies. I would love to see some of the judges and if we can get a hold on who the judges are going to be for this fight, because the last judges seem to just seem to just favor pressure. Even though Beterbiev was pressuring, I feel like Bivol controlled the fight. This is a pure dog or pass spot, to be frank. If you're picking a side. They have Beterbiev as a slight favorite, so I'm going to lean Bivol just as a dog shot. But, man, I'm not overly confident in that. And it's the guy who is a bigger puncher that's the favorite that won the first fight. They're doing the same fight in the same backyard. I feel bad for Bivol if he loses this one because I think he's an all-time generational talent that I think didn't capitalize a lot after the Canelo win. Won that decisively, even though the judges said it was a lot closer than it was, which is Canelo won 2 rounds. But Beterbiev is older. I would love to see how these boys are talking throughout the week. This is a tough fight to call, man. That's where I'm at. I can't even comfortably bet knockdowns in this fight. I kind of like the overs. That's where I would lean with the bet. but those are probably going to be juice because Vegas is probably on him too. I'm going to lean Bivol as the dog shot here. No, actually, I'm going to lean Beterbiev. I'm going to lean Beterbiev because I think he has more adjustments to make from the last fight, but the play might be on Bivol because he's a dog, literally. But that's where I'm at. And by the way, none of this is with a high degree of confidence. It's such a good fight. I think this is a fight I'm probably going to sit back and just enjoy some popcorn, maybe eat a hot dog or two, open up some coquito or some brewskis with my brother, and then we'll figure it out from there. But this is a fight that I don't feel very comfortable betting on because I don't know. Like, that's how good this fight is. Give me Beterbiev for the lean. Give me Bivol as the possible play, or whoever becomes the dog as this line moves.
And that does it for the sweet science and our overall combat coverage of this week's fights. But, without further ado, my brother, let's take us home.
You already know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. And just as a heads up, we didn't cover all the fights on these cards. These cards are bangers. To be honest, we probably should have let off the podcast with the boxing fights because the cards are so stacked. The UFC card is just our predominant baby because that's most of our fan base. But on the Saudi Arabia card, you have Callum Smith and Carlos Adames fighting. They're in different fights, but those are great fights as well. On the Tokyo card, you have Diego Higa, who is a banger of a fighter. Pause. He doesn't have boring fights, very good fighter, as well as Tenshin Sasakawa, who fought Floyd Mayweather in his debut fight, lost, but he's a kickboxer. Now he's completely committed himself to the sport, going against Jason Maloney, who has a lot to prove, coming off a loss as well. So there's a lot of good fights on these cards. Try to enjoy them. We'll probably even make some bets on them as well, too, as we get further into them, but we covered more of the bigger fights along these two cards that are magnificent this weekend. We love you guys. Subscribe. It helps us a ton. Holla at you guys. We'll see you for next week's episode. Take it easy. Enjoy the fights this weekend. See you later.